Putting a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Sensitive and offensive content disclaimer. Please note that this podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, and controversial subjects. Triggering content, including discussions of related mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues. Explicit language. Occasionally, our guest or host may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert. And now, your show. Good evening, travelers and those alike. Welcome to this edition of the RNN presents the Orion Effect St. Patty's Day special show. I was going to go with another accent, but I was like, that's not going to work. But I went with the clothes anyway. Today, I'm not known as the Hitman. Today, I am the angry leprechaun.
Why you gotta be angry all the time?
I know, right? I don't know. It's a disposition. Oh, I like that. I use disposition. Ooh, hello. Oh my goodness. So, without further ado, rather, thank you. I may teach me to start talking like this. That's not cool. We have a wonderful show lineup. And how in the hell did you get above me? You're taking over the show. All yours. All yours, lad. Hello. And I'm getting ready to say hello to everybody. I'll hand that over to Rhonda. But we have a magnificent show set up for you this evening. We have one of our sponsor locations and someone I've been wanting to get on the show for years. You better smile, man. I see you. Thank you. We're really looking forward to having Marty on. We've had a lot going on the last couple of weeks. Tonight was no different. The little man upstairs decided to mess with it. And right as we were getting ready to go on, it shut everything down on my end again. I'm like, you bastard, you little bastard. What are you doing after me over? Trying to piss me off already. But, so before we get right into it, Rhonda, I'll hand it on over to you and let's get out there and see what's going on. For now, I'm leaving Rhonda to deal with the comments. She can read them out because I think this way we're going to find that chemistry.
All right. Well, good evening, Mama Judy. Judy Atkins is in the house. Nando De Cerrillo.
Nando! Our new
house. Middletown Paranormal Investigations is in the house.
Hello,
Monica S. Damian Smith, evening from Edinburgh, Scotland.
Damian, good to see you, and thank you for being here. Another new traveler.
What? Renee Cody.
Oh, she's in the house.
Marianne Yates Brisson.
Miss Marianne, hello. She's a Lakesider.
All right. So we appreciate everybody joining us. Not only is it St. Patrick's Day, but it's been St. Patrick's Day weekend. So it's spanned for days.
Well, let's see here. You know what we got to do with that one. Sorry. Goodbye. Flush the toilet. See you later. That's right. I did that. Yes. It has been tremendously crazy with the weather. Um, the energy has been off the chain, like a serious roller coaster. This has got nothing on King Cobra. This ain't got nothing on any of the damn coasters out there. This energy has been off the hook. Ups, downs, lefts, rights, sideways, you name it. We've been doing this energy thing like, drafting cars. And we're not going to talk too much about that because I really want to get to Marty. But absolutely. And you've had, no, look, now this is our ritual.
Okay.
So you had an amazing last weekend. So
did.
let's give the helm to you. Let's talk about a little bit of you and FPRI.
All right. Well, last weekend, my team, FPRI, Fredericksburg Research Paranormal and Investigations, and RVA Paranormal, teamed up, and we went out to Sweet Spring Sanitarium in West Virginia, just into West Virginia. It was a great weekend. We had a blast out there. Got some good evidence and activity. Definitely a place I'm looking forward to going to again.
Sorry to be laugh. I'm reading what Damon said.
You blow it up an air bubble in water using sound waves, it produces light. Do orbs form same way?
We're going to talk about that in a second. I think that's a great idea. I want to talk about that's a great question, actually. It just made me chuckle the way he said play bubbles. So I was like, I love you, dude. Yeah,
we were out at Sweet Springs with another team and we had a great time, and that it's a fun time out there, somewhere I'm looking forward to going to again. Yes, Jason Gray, it was cold. It was cold. I think the temperature in the last room we were in registered like 40 or 42 degrees. But of course, the other rooms are heated. So we all kind of went to crash out for an hour or so before we hit that road home. But I was telling Howie earlier, when we woke up, after about like literally 60 minutes of sleeping, one of the team members is like, by the way, it's snowing. It's like, oh, great.
That's really interesting too, because you weren't that far from us, but we didn't get any snow last weekend.
It was really light. It was a cross between snow and sleet, but it was cold enough that was what was happening to us. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it made for an interesting weekend. It made for an interesting week, and here we are on St. Patty's Day. Cheers.
Cheers.
I've got my goody.
I got my goody. There's some Irish in this blood, so you have to celebrate.
There's some Irish in here. There'll be a little bit of Irish in the valleys on that one. On that note, we do have a special guest on tonight. His name is Marty Seibel. He is from 2 locations. Most of you will know Marty from our sponsorship of Ghost of, that's right, can he say it? Staunton, Virginia. Which if you read it, you will say Staunton. I get the trip trap all the time. You read it and you're not from here, you'll say Staunton. But from us here, we say Stanton. That's just because we're ass backwards, and that's the way we like it. But he's also the founder of Black Raven Paranormal. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to kick the show off right now and welcome Marty Seibel to the house.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hey.
Happy St. Patty's Day.
Happy St. Patty's Day.
How are you there, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you both doing?
Oh,
good.
Magnificent. Now, you have not officially met. So, Marty, This is Rhonda.
Rhonda, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Howie and I were talking about that there's going to have to be a trip to Staunton this spring or fall.
Oh, yes. Please do
the
come.
Whole gambit of things.
We would love to have you.
Yeah, the town is magnificent. Hey, Stuart, the town is magnificent. I told her we need to do some antiquing and do some eating before the whole, taking the tours, deciding which tour we take. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Mm-hmm. But you've been doing the paranormal for quite some time. And a question popped out of nowhere. And I want to make sure Damon's question got, showed. And I want to bring that up. And I want to get your thoughts on it. And then we'll jump right into locations, areas, and those such things. So Rhonda, I'll hand that on over to you.
All right. If you blow up an air bubble underwater using sound wave, it produces light. Do orbs form the same way?
Was that not brilliant, dude?
That was, yeah. Is that a question for me?
Yeah.
I thought it would be a good question for all of us to start on because I'm like, wow, that was so magnificent. Now, Damon is one of our newest travelers. He's from overseas, so he's across the big lake. So I was like, well, let's hit on that first and start and open that can of, paranormal. You know what? I'm not cussing. I'm doing good. Everybody's so quiet. Come on, you guys.
Well, let me see. I'm not much of a big orb guy, but oops, another question popped up there.
Oh, you good?
I would guess so. Possibly, if I have to say. I mean, to take a stab at it. That's a good question right out the gate.
Wow. That's why I said it. And then, of course, hi, pleasure to meet y'all.
Very nice to meet you, Davian.
I'm gonna drop it and say, yeah. I mean, absolutely. If we base it on Earth science and what we do know, if it does apply, then yeah, that's exactly how. Or some forms. Let's correct that. How some forms may be mistaken for spiritual orbs. Let's take gas swamp, for instance. Gas swamp gas. Ass backwards. I told you tonight is just going to be crazy. Yeah, absolutely. So can spiritual do that too? Yeah, I think so. If what we understand at this point of who we are and in our studies, then technically, Damon, I would agree with that. That is a good one. And wow, what a start out the whole night with that one. Whoa. Everybody, welcome Marty. So, all right, great question, and thank you, Damon. Hello, Julie. Hello, Julie is in the house. Miss Julie has arrived. Let's kick this thing. So, and then I see Middleton's jumping in here. It says, I'll say no. Orbs are considered to be dust. If moisture gets into the dust, the light will reflect off the dust. However, it depends on your basic science of your earth science. That's not necessarily true. Earth science does prove that that's a fact, but that could be both ways, actually. So it could be both what Milton says and my definition. So we got to look at it from multiple plicities. I mean, that's one of the reasons we want to do our research and our science. Where is it all the whole direction coming from, not just one? So that's a valid point on both.
I'm somewhat mixed on orbs. I'm kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
I know in recent years, it's not been something I've so much concentrated on, particularly when it comes to video or whatnot.
Yeah.
I do believe there are such things as legitimate orbs, paranormally speaking. But as she mentioned too, or they mentioned, some of them, can be dust, other particles that are in the environment and atmosphere.
Yeah. I mean, other things that we see could be electrostatic balls, could be static booms in the air, which is a sign proven. Depends, and especially if the location has, God, and we get really into the paranormal really quick. Rugs, depending on shadows. Right there.
And that's Ronnie.
I like that.
Are real. That's about the truth of it. Hey, you said it pretty good right there. Damon drops out and says, I hunt all cryptids, so they're bound to our laws for physics. And I agree with you. That's actually where I come from, Damon. So I agree. I know where you're coming from. But I also have to understand there's another world outside of what we understand. So there's the debunking side, and then there's the science side, and then there's the WTF side. Hey, did I do good on that one? I think that was good. Yeah, thank you. And then Ronnie smiles. So flame doesn't have a shadow. That's not true. That is not true, sir. But that is your opinion. I'm going to keep you to it there, brah, because I'm not going to question anybody. I'm just giving it static. It can create a shadow. All All right, that's enough, you guys. Come on, we got to get to Marty. We're not going to go down this paranormal rabbit hole so fast. So, Marty.
Yep.
You started out with Black Raven Paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about? What made you put that team together, and where is it taking you up to GOS?
Well, I really started getting into the paranormal and the adventures I've taken on in the year 2000. Prior to that, I had been real big into sports. I played a lot of softball, a lot of basketball. Just that was my world. But injuries at age caught up to me. So I ended up hanging up sports, and I've always had an interest in history, the paranormal, and just, looking for something else to do. And everything you would see on television at the time, like the Travel Channel, the History Channel, all these really cool locations to go to and see, historically speaking, along with the haunts and paranormal activity associated with them. I would tell myself, I want to go there, I want to do that, I want to experience that. And so I pretty much started a journey of doing that, traveling all over the country. Wasn't investigating at this time, more so just really enjoying it. And from there, it evolved to form a paranormal group. My girlfriend Lisa moved down here a short time later and has joined me. We've been all over the country. We do the haunted B&B weekends often. And the paranormal group actually started in 2005. It was originally called the Shenandoah Valley Paranormal Society.
Oh,
and it started as a very small group, and it grew really quickly, almost to a point where just too many. We had about 40 some members. Very hard to manage.
Good God, man.
Size. And as you know, a lot of people come and go and everything. And then in 2013, we actually switched the name over to Black Raven Paranormal. I like the name Raven. I'm originally from Baltimore, although you'd not know that by the way I talk, my accent now. That's what living down here 50 some years will do to you. But we've been Black Raven Paranormal since 2013. We've done a lot of local stuff with investigations here, but we love to travel. It's kind of the staple of our group, to hit a lot of the bigger name locations, especially those that have a history that resonate. I've been blessed over the years to have gone to so many wonderful places and meet so many wonderful people along the way, such as you, and to meet Rhonda tonight for the first time. It's a big journey. And now let's see, 90, going on 24 years now. Yeah. So I'm old.
Oh, come on, don't start that again. You don't even look your age. We're going to go there again. This man is not his. I'm telling you, I'm getting it because I'm so used to being over in your corner. That man, there we go. I would say we actually started communicating in 2010, if I remember correctly. And I had just started the group. I had just started getting the paranormal history and theory groups together, and I was talking to all of y'all, and and I just started clicking. And then, of course, you were one of the original 13 groups of Virginia. So just like last night or this weekend, Tidewater was just here at the cabin. They're one of the original 13. So I want to make sure, people knew that now there's over 250 groups in Virginia comparatively to 13 groups back in the day, right?
Oh, yeah. It has definitely exploded. Just recently too, like you say, the last 10 or so years, it has taken off. It really has. I'm still very old school with a lot of things, not up to date with some of the more modern stuff. I do catch up here from time to time. Thing with me too now, not only with the paranormal group, but managing the ghost tours. It takes up quite a bit of my time. It's almost, basically, you could say it's a full-time job because we do it year round now. We're actually offering ghost tours every month of the year.
And it's turned into a full-time thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so do you still have time to get out with the team and actually investigate? Or gotta ask that question, man.
It's rare. I have to pick and choose. I do still do some stuff, but not on the level, where we were going every weekend or, 2 and 3 weekends a month. No longer that. We just recently, we were at Fort Mifflin up in Philadelphia last weekend. We actually, first time we've investigated there during the monsoon or doing a monsoon. It was interesting. If you've ever been to Mifflin.
I have. I've been to Mifflin. Ron, have you been to Mifflin?
I have not been to Mifflin.
It's an interesting place.
It's actually my favorite. I love it. I mean, we all have a location that really resonates with us. But for me, it would have to be Fort Mifflin. Been there 11 times now. Just did my 11th visit up there. I think something that really resonates with me is just a history with it.
Yeah.
Knowing that, it's been labeled the fort that saved America. You have pre-Revolutionary War fort there built by the Freemasons. In action during the American Revolution as well as the Civil War, and even served in some capacity during World War I and II.
Right.
For me, basically, every time we've been there, it's one of the things I like about it. The location is so spread out. It's very easy to investigate and navigate. You don't have to worry about those things of like contamination or whatnot. You can take a group there of about 16 people and really have a good sound investigation.
Yeah.
And again, I like the history. A lot of the places, like we talk about some of the underground cells that they have, whether it be for, just general holding cells, general population, or if they be solitary confinement. It's really neat to go down in these areas and you see scratched on the wall somebody's name and the year. Like we're going 18, we're talking 1700s. I mean, that's so cool. It's almost, it's like going into a time capsule.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've had a lot of success there. We've had a lot of activity. We've gotten EVPs, disembodied voices, video, photographs. People have been touched. The whole caboodle. It's actually also the place too where Lisa had her last investigation there years ago because of that one EVP she captured in the West Sallyport down there on an off room. It was a soldier's barracks.
Okay.
She didn't hear it at the time. They were working that particular investigation. We had 12 people go up. I divided the group into 4 different groups of 3. I put Lisa with 2 other women. Thought I'd let the 3 women work together that night. So they did. They went off and they were doing their thing. It was a pretty quiet night for the most part. But we get back afterwards, normal routine with Lisa and myself. I get stuck with the review. And so I'm doing her review. And I go back to, I come down here in my man cave and I'm sitting lying back here on that sofa and I'm listening to her recordings. And they're several hours into it. And they're over into the West Sallyport. And they're not even doing a question and answer session. They're just doing general conversation. And I really don't even know how to tell you this because I explained it time and time again, and I still never have a perfect answer for it or how I want to present it. But they are just talking female talk. And they're talking about how you get a little older, how you put on a little bit of weight and certain body parts hang. Yeah. We're talking about. And I'm
here we go with the poop thing again.
One of the women actually starts singing about "Do your ears hang low?" She's just rambling on and on. And in between their conversation, you hear this male voice, like it's almost up on right on top of the recorder. It's actually closer to the recorder than they are, that I can tell from listening to it. And it's a real raspy male voice, and it says it doesn't hang on you, and it's real drawn out.
Wow.
And they never heard it. They never heard it. They're just both just yap 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 yap. And I'm like, holy.
Right.
I went out there and gave her
a
high five, and she said, "That's it. I'm done. I'm done." She's not a night person anyway. So she tells me, even to this day, she says, "You run along, play with little friends, have as much fun as you want up all night. Just don't bring anybody home with you, and don't play with the equipment in the house." And I just said, "Yeah, sure, okay, whatever."
Yeah. Now, that's a good question. So does she have the same body frame as Rachel? Her and Rachel have the same body frame?
No.
Okay.
No.
Now, when I say
Lisa's actually a couple years older than me. She moved down here in 2004. She's originally from Franklin, Pennsylvania, just north of Pittsburgh. She's been down here ever since 2000. Actually, it's 2002. So she's been here 22 years now.
Okay.
So yeah. And also, speaking of Rachel, she's I don't know if you know, but she's actually become a guide now here for the tours here in town.
Yeah, that's
much more involved.
Yeah.
She's been a wonderful addition to the group.
Yeah. I wanted to jump into that and talk a little bit about the tour guides and all that here in just a few minutes, but I do want to make sure we capture our own questions. So, I know Damon's going to just hit us up. So he's doing good. I'm going to hand it on over to Rhonda, let her ask that question, then we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Catching a ghost on camera is like catching water with your hand from a tap. Have you ever used ultraviolet spectrum?
Nice question.
Have I ever caught anything from an ultraviolet?
Yes.
Not anything in the way of an apparition or what I would think of an apparition. I have not had any success with that. I've been able to document things like objects that'll move or lights that have gone off or blink. Say, example, there'd be an EMF meter, K2 meter, cat balls, the ones that light up, which we did capture that up at Fort Mifflin in the blacksmith shop. But to date, as far, I've not had any success, and it's not for lack of trying. I've tried. It just hasn't. It hasn't resonated.
You got a whole city to test, man. Why? Of course you've tried.
I tell you, I do have a lot of success, or I'm really strong with audio. I really believe if you can connect, and sometimes, a lot of times, I find it's just letting it come to you, letting it flow. rather than just going off and chasing stuff. Just let it flow. I love to do a lot of research when I go into an investigation. I want to know as much information as I can. It helps me formulate the type of questions I want to ask. And I'll use a lot of different methods. One, just a simple question and answer based on the history or whatnot. Sometimes I might get something accidentally wrong, mispronounce it or something, just to see if it's corrected. We've had success doing that. And then the other approach I use is I'm just straight up very honest of who I am and what I'm after, and really basically what's it like in the afterlife, because someday I'm going to be right there as well. And then the final thing I'll reach into my bag of tricks is when I've run out of all of those, I just start talking about my life and work. I used to work at Walmart distribution. Yeah, I hated it. And now I'm at a bakery and, yada, yada, yada. Just anything to just try to strike up a conversation. I do, and I'm upfront because I do like to have a sense of humor with this, but I'm also serious as well. I do think you have to have a sense of humor, but you have to be respectful too. And I'm even very respectful. We don't provoke or anything like that. I really try to connect. And again, I go back to the research and everything. And I'll give you an example. I do like to use a lot of trigger objects. I'm really big, if you know me, I'm big into Civil War history, Revolutionary as well, but particularly Civil War. I'll do anything from learning Civil War slang to using objects, dressing costume, you name it. It's just to try to go back in that time period and relate with the individuals you're trying to contact.
Yeah.
And it's been extremely successful for me. I've had a lot of success. I've been blessed with that. As far as personal experiences, I've never had that really one experience where I've actually seen anything. I'd give my right arm to, so I say. I joke around because Lisa, initially when we started going out to the B&B, the very first B&Bs, I should say, she had an incredible experience the very first time out where she actually witnessed someone in our room. I was a part of that, but I didn't get to see it. Right. My personal experiences, for the most part, involve, again, like I say, with audio, but it's not only be able to capture that voice on the recorder, but to hear it, a disembodied voice in real time answering your question. And it always kind of just grabs you. It startles you at first, I'm happy to say, and I say that over and over. I've not soiled myself yet. Knock on wood. Yeah. But it is, I guess immediately my attention always focuses to the recorder. And when I've heard it, I just kind of like, wow, I hope that's on there. And every time it has been. And that's pretty cool when you can validate that.
I agree. I want to do a hello. Of course, your friend and my better half is on watching right now. Sarah is watching. Hello to Keith Ottersberg. Hello, Keith, brother Keith. Daniel's in the house. Hello, Daniel. Hello, everybody. And thank you for joining us on this special edition. So let's jump into this way real quick. Who is Marty Seibel?
Who is Marty Seibel? Oh gosh, I don't know. I would use that a very complex personality, that line from The Jerk, but I'm a pretty simple guy. I'm very passionate about history. I love history, all kinds of history. I think we learn a lot from history, good and bad. And I've always had that in me. I'm someone that's very passionate about the things I do. As far as a paranormal investigative type individual and our group, we're more of an isolated group, isolated myself. And it's mainly not because of disliking people or anything like that. It's just because of so many things just going on in regular life. And you do get caught up. It's kind of hard to manage two jobs. And then, with the stuff I do with our group here, managing, like I said, 3 social media pages, 2 websites, 2 video channels. And, I do all of our web design, our promotional videos for the tours, for the group. It's a lot. It's a lot. So it does keep me pretty busy, which is kind of a good thing. So I don't want to sit around here with no time on my hands, but sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming. And I know you've been down that road. You do a lot.
Too many times.
The other thing with it is too, and another thing I've noticed from the time when I started 20-some years ago is you have a lot more drama in the field now. There's a lot more of that animosity and drama.
Man, I wasn't going there, but let's go to it, shall we? That's right.
Yes.
No, you're right. But you know what? I see it. I will speak up on this. I see it as a cycle. 10 years ago, I saw that same cycle that you're referring to kind of drizzle out and everything's focused and refoiled itself. And now it's back into another contingent. I think it's based on age, maturity, the people coming in, the people being taught, how they're being taught, what they're expecting comparatively to those people who've been in it for a while. Just like, we don't need the drama. We don't need your circus. We don't want your monkeys. So I get where you're coming from. I'm not going to take this time to use it as a train for something that Ron and I talked about a certain individual, although I could and offer that challenge right there at this point in time and make sure he knows I'm talking about him. But I'm not going to use that opportunity. I'm going to be a little bit more mature than that.
Good for you. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Props.
Thank you. But, on the flip side, and I got my little dig in. Did you like that, Rhonda? I got the dig in.
I did. I did.
I could get a lot worse.
No, because there's a time and a place. I just feel like rather than have drama, if there's somebody that you've got something with or you don't agree how they're doing, talk it out one-on-one. Like podcasts and stuff are not the place for it.
Sure.
You can say beef. It's okay. It's not cussing.
Absolutely. Well, and the other thing too with this is with just not Black Raven Paranormal, but the Ghost of Staunton. Yeah. And a lot of the drama we've had comes from within.
Yeah.
And you really have to, if you have to really vet people as you bring them into your group or your tour group as well.
Well, it's just
the thing that kind of separates. I'm sorry.
It's just not the group. I mean, every time that I've been, as we like to call, a special presence when I'm there, whenever we're doing the tours, we have to deal with the townspeople. Mm-hmm. And that can within itself can be a little frustrating.
Sure.
You guys, honestly, when we're walking around town and I'm there on a special occasion, I have one of the members from RNN's there. People are people. So remember, you just have to deal with that kind of stuff too. We kind of giggle at them. It's
you do. The thing with it is that, with the paranormal group, is our paranormal group as opposed to the ghost tours. The ghost tours is a business. We profit off that. I profit off of that. Our tour guides profit off of that. A lot of our tour guides are members of Black Raven Paranormal. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. But it's anytime you bring people into, whether it's your tour group or your paranormal group, it's your reputation, it's your name, it's your business, and it all kind of correlates together. Exactly. And I want to hold that up in a respectful manner. And, we've had, and anytime if you get a group that's large and you bring a lot of different people in, you have a lot of different personalities, a lot of different ideologies, and from doing it so long, I've done it so long, I've experienced so many different things, good and bad. I've met a lot of good people, but there've been a lot of things too, bad situations too, where you come through, or new people come through. We have strict protocols where we put in procedures, that we want to be respected and in place. And basically most of those, if not all of those, just involve common respect.
Right.
But a lot of people that we find when they come in and they want to do this, they're not serious on a serious enough approach to do the trips, to travel, to obey those protocols, as far as just common respect for the location, the deceased, and your teammates as well. And that's where we get into some of the drama on the lower levels and stuff. And I know all of you have seen it. You have to. If you've done this long enough,
I like the way you just said that. If we've done this long enough. Damn it, man! Stop bringing the age into this. But no, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. And the thing is we're at that moment in our lives where, we don't need all of that anymore. And it doesn't matter if it's on the paranormal side or on the business side. We've seen it come and go. We've seen the cycles and we've learned from those things.
Yep.
That's the beautiful part.
Absolutely. For our group, and then basically we have people come in, I want everybody to be able to go out and experience and have a good time. That's number one. I want you to be able to enjoy it.
Right.
But we all have to be on the same page somewhat too. You do, especially when we travel and stuff like this. There's an amount of respect that you need to show in every facet of the field, whether it be for your teammates, the locations we go to, those on the other side, the individuals on the other side. It just is. And we put all those in place, and like I said, you really have to vet people. I don't think you really get to know someone until they're with you really actually several years. It takes a while.
We just talked about that. Ron and I just talked about that today. You're exactly right. You're exactly right, sir. I commend you on that comment, by the way. It's true. And
it's very true. Yes.
When you settle in and you get these larger groups, then you realize that the smaller group is really what you want, and there's some people that like the meetup groups, like those big groups, and more power to these meetup groups that pick a place and they all go. But there's something to be said about a core group. And especially,
It is. And, I prefer the smaller groups, but one of the things that's it's kind of like a hanging noose for us with the tours, the ghost tours, is we get
yeah,
just over flooded with saturated with people that want to join, they want to get into this, and we'll give them an opportunity and chance. And most of the time it doesn't turn out well,
right.
just because of those things, like I say, with respect, being dependable, those type of things. They want to experience it. And we've never really cut that off. We've always kind of left that open and available, but it takes up a lot of your time and energy to provide these things and opportunities. Like I said, we've had a lot of different personalities come in. I never like to, I'll give everybody the opportunity I want them to have a good time. I want them to be able to investigate, enjoy the locations, enjoy the moment, enjoy working with equipment, enjoy working with other people, but to learn it properly how we want it done, at least in the terms of respect. And I like to present the information and have it there for everybody to learn it. But there's also a certain type of initiative that people have to take to want it, especially when you go up to a higher level, when you're talking core, and those people that you want with you, they're the people you need to depend on. They're the backbone of your group, and they need to come through. When we're talking about when you have evidence and data that you have to submit, whether it be a residential case or whatever it is. And so one of the biggest things I've learned, and it took me a while to learn this, is when we do have people that come in, I let them, there's certain things that they have to meet, criteria that shows the initiative, so to speak, that I want to advance. I want to take this a little bit further. I want to be somebody that you can depend on. I want to do it the right way. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does.
Absolutely.
So generally, I'll give you an example. We just had a meeting, and this is from the tours. We had so many people from last season from the tours. We had a group of about 20 that wanted to join our group, and so I offered to have a meeting with everybody. We did. I set up a day where we
last year kicked ass.
And nobody showed up. Nobody.
None of them showed up.
Now, some people, granted, had some really valid excuses or whatnot, but after that, that's where I cut it, because I don't reach out to anybody a second time.
Amen.
Fair enough.
And whether I end up being the ass or what, I just don't. I
agree with you. I'm 100% on you on that one too. I don't either.
Yeah.
I give the opportunity. If they don't take that fish hook, then that's on them. I move on.
So basically, the ones that didn't, or there was no contact or anything, I haven't contacted them again. I figure if they're that interested, they really want to, they'll contact me and we'll pursue it and we'll go from there.
Right. Yeah, I hear you.
It took me a while to learn that, though.
Well, we go through trials and tribulations, my friend. Trials and tribulations.
Yes, indeed.
With saying that, I want to say this. We are honored to be hooked up with GOS, Ghost of
Staunton. Thank you. We feel the same.
It's been
we
a wonderful
cards out to our groups and everything. A lot of times we'll put a stamp on the back, because I like to do a lot of different promotions with the tours. I'll tell everybody, look at the back of their cards. They'll either get like a discount on a future tour or a free tour. Yeah. And also, too, with the flip side, with your URL address to your YouTube channel and all that, we tell them to check you out. And I have boxes of cards I just ordered a couple weeks ago.
See, it's
totally design and everything.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's been a wonderful, and I think we have now been together almost 4 years.
Yeah.
I think it's 4 years. We've had a working relationship, the network and GOS. I'm really proud of that. I really am proud of that. Just 3 years here at the cabin. So I'm really proud of all this. I want to stick up there. Middleton says, we enjoyed our tour when we took it. Marty was super hospitable, planning to attend another June.
They were awesome. I really enjoyed meeting them. They were awesome.
And this is another reason why I get Rhonda to read them, because I sound like a 4-year-old reading. Yeah,
we had a great time. It was a pleasure to meet and talk with them both, and I would love to have them back. Absolutely. Like I said, you meet so many wonderful people along the way, and it's great. I love to hear people's own personal experiences. I love to share the interest and the passion that other groups and other people have. That's one of the best things about the field to me.
I agree. I totally agree. Okay, Rhonda, what is the other frog brother saying?
You're going to make me read it.
Okay. Yes, I am.
Happy St. Patty's Day official Mountain Dew Day and Screaming Badges, Bandage, and Blarney Stones. Stephen, God bless ya, crazy
bastards.
I don't know.
Now, Marty, that's my brother. That's the other.
Nice to meet you, Robert.
Yeah. He's the other frog brother. So
okay, cool.
Damon hits up something.
My best experiences were sitting reading a short story from a book with no cameras, which opens a connection with these spirits before then I use equipment.
I
So
think
that's
that's a really good way to go. I really do. I definitely, and I know when I started with that, it was more of a, and I noticed even with teams we would work with, it was more like people were going out trying to catch a butterfly or something. So I can equate it, but I think we learned early on, we had more success if we just sat, relaxed, and let it come to us. Let it flow, let it flow. If it'll happen, it'll happen. If it won't, it won't. It doesn't diminish anything for me as an investigator. I still respect the location, the history, and the time with my friends and teammates.
Yes. Now
Yeah.
that that's two directions I'd like to talk about tonight, and I'm glad that question was asked. Now, when you, all right, I was ready for this, so I'm going to make sure I don't go down too many rabbit holes. So on the tours, okay, now we're going to get people's lips a little wet to come to Staunton. On your tours, have you encountered anything unique and special that you would share just to draw people in? What's some of your best memories of doing this tour?
Well, if you're talking paranormal experiences, I have had a few. I have had a few. One of the ones that are more memorable with me, several years ago, I had one of our tour guides, a new tour guide that was training. And basically, before I turn a tour guide loose on their own, they have to do a tour for me. And we were doing a tour of me and this other girl. It was probably about 10 o'clock at night. And I was recorded on an audio recorder. I had an audio recorder with me recorded because, for one, I wanted to kind of use it as a training tool for other tour guides as they come into the group.
Yeah.
So it was just her and I, and we were down at the depot station. I'm sitting there on the bench, and she's there at the railing right there. The tracks are behind her. She's telling me a story, and I'm listening intently. And I hear what sounds like a whisper in my ear just to the right of me, like if somebody's like sitting beside me.
Right.
And I'm thinking, oh, no. It's because nobody down there. I'm looking around. There's nobody down there. So as I'm recording, I'm thinking, well, damn it, I'm going to put that on I'm going to transfer it over to the computer when I get home and see. And so I went back, and there was this whispering, and I know it wasn't me. It wasn't Robin, the tour guide. She was telling the stories to me. And my biggest thing was I couldn't understand. I couldn't decipher what was being said. And of course we do. That's a normal thing with EVP or anything that goes on with that. But that was the first time I'd experienced anything down at the depot station. And then a short time later, we introduced a tour for the first time, which was very popular at the time, and probably one of the first, where we had things with the spirit box. We would actually introduce people to the spirit box and EVP, share some EVPs and spirit box clips with them, and then do a live session down there. The very first session we had, immediately some of the answers that come across were so clear and precise. I was just like, wow, I was blown away. And I got to be honest with you, when we first started dabbling with the spirit box, I was a skeptic. I was a big skeptic. Yes, I was. I'm not anymore, but I was. And a couple of reasons. Number one, you have to remember it is radio. And number two, I think sometimes you can hear what you want to hear if you're looking for a specific answer.
Very
but some
true.
of the things that have come across over these course of the last 10 or 11 years since we've been messing with it or using it, I'm on board. There is something legitimate to it. I wish I had all the answers and explanations to it, but I don't. But some of the answers that have come across, I'm convinced. I'm convinced now.
Well, the reason
hearing is believing.
Right. I'm going to let Rhonda ask this or make this statement and question in just a second, but I want to.
Sure.
Hey, Carolyn. Hello. Welcome to the party. I wanted to show people that it's not just a tour. It can be spiritually interactive. If they want, you may catch something where they encourage you to bring your cameras, your digital recorders while you're doing this tour, especially when you get up close to Mary Baldwin and some of my favorite places. Wink, wink. You know what house I'm talking about. Wink, wink. When you start getting to these locations, you have a very good high possibility of encountering something. So that's why I wanted you to, what have you had, and before I let that go, have any of your tour guides come to you and go, Marty, I had this happen?
Yes, they have. We've had several. Most recently, both Charlie and Lewis have had.
Love Charlie.
Down at the depot station again. It's, we have a lot of active areas in town, but that depot station is a hotbed. Yeah. And it goes back to so much history there, going back from the very time the railroad come in there and everything that it served and brought to Staunton, especially during the American Civil War. A lot of activity, a lot of people in and through there, dead and wounded, POWs, soldiers, sick, injured, you name it, everything circulated through that depot. And it's really the reason why Staunton grew beyond that. and become the city it is now, all because of that depot station. Of course, there's been train wrecks there and everything else.
I know Dave's talked to me about some of his encounters and stories, especially, and I'm just going to give this out. So here's a little teaser for you guys, especially about the gentleman in the bank.
Sure, Jimmy Atkins.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, he's not alive. But sharing that that situation and the stuff at Mary Baldwin itself, the different things that he's encountered on the period of time he's done it just makes me I come back for more. And it's not because I'm a sponsor, it's because I hate to say it, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I love the town.
We think there's several reasons why Staunton's so active. One, there are a lot of underground caverns. There's a lot of running water. Lewis Creek runs under a good bit of the city. We've had sinkholes here. We've had a lot of things happen. And then you have the tremendous history. The town, dates back to 1749. Actually, settlers here in the area as early as 1732. So you have that, and you combine all that together, and it does make it. I believe it's a hot spot. It really is. We get so many stories, incredible stories from credible people of personal experiences, which is really cool. And we document the animal on our tours.
Yeah.
And we always like a good personal experience. I see a question here.
Yeah, I popped it up because I was like, oh, that's a good one. We got a couple.
The Rainsworth Lodge. Yes. We did do the Rainsworth Lodge. We did that back in November. Of course, I love Gettysburg, and that was our first time up there. Daniel Bonner, the owner of it, very hospitable, really great guy. Him and his wife both rented it for the night, and we did find it active. Incredible location. I really liked it because it was almost like a B&B. It had set up a nice big kitchen, microwave, refrigerator, beds you can sleep in afterwards. 11 p.m. checkout the next day. A rich history, has Civil War history as well as some other history there as well. And we did. We come out there with some pretty good audio. Had a really interesting response up one of the upper bedrooms. And this was through the box. We had done some EVP to start out with, and then we switched over to the box. And I kept having or hearing what I thought sounded like a gentleman, might have been a man of color. And so I asked of such if you're a man of color, and got a response back that I didn't see coming. I really thought it would have been a man replying because I thought who I was talking to, but it was a female. They come across and said, "What do you think?" Just as clear as a day. And I was like, I didn't see that coming. Good reply.
I've gotten that shit. I understand. Put us on spot and turn the questions around on us. Yeah.
Yeah.
In there.
Yeah, I know. They're asking me questions.
Yeah, like catch them
up. But it was just like a smart reply, though. It was just like, I don't know. I mean, I felt like an idiot.
Yeah. It does make you feel kind of small, doesn't it?
It does. But yeah, I recommend Rainsworth. I do. As a matter of fact, I know we'll be going back at some point in time. We've also talked about too with taking some of the training groups up there because it's an excellent opportunity for those just starting out investigating. It's not on the intense level as you might find with some locations.
Yeah, absolutely true. Absolutely. We got another great question about do you find spirits are bilingual, or does Spanish call Spanish, etc.? That's a great question. That's another one. What do you think?
I do. I mean, we have picked up other voices, and I know they're not in English, where we've been out on investigations or whatnot. Now, I'm not familiar with all the different languages. I did take 2 years of Spanish back in the days of the dinosaurs, which I forgot all of it now. But I have had other things come across, and I'm just like, that doesn't really sound. It sounds like it would be like almost with an accent with it as well.
Yeah.
One of the things too, and going back to Fort Mifflin, just as recently as last weekend, had some things come across the box where we have it's an English voice, but they have the English accent with it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's go to that. And I see that we will be there for 2 nights. Looking forward to going. Excellent.
They'll enjoy it. They will.
This is something that I wanted to jump in, and we had talked a little bit about it, but it is St. Paddy's Day. It is the time of the season where we get to drink the green beer and look for the gold and the green. So we had talked a little bit, was there history of Irish in Staunton? And down the Shenandoah Valley, there's German, there's Irish, there's Scottish. It's just plentiful. And Dutch. Why do I keep forgetting the Dutch? All through it. But you did let us know that there was a little bit of an Irish
There was at one time we had an Irish pub in town, and they kind of went out of business when COVID. Of course, a lot of places did here at the time, and they never circulated back. We had an Irish pub in town, but there is an area of town where we call it Irish Alley, and it dates back pre-Civil War, during the Civil War. A lot of Irish immigrants in this area, a lot that fought in the war too, and that's just down below, just below the clock tower before you get to the wharf parking lot.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right down as you go down that hill. That hill actually has a lot of history because we've had several floods in that area that's been bad coming down the hill of water, and fires down in that area as well.
Oh, I can't wait to bring Rhonda. Oh,
there you go. You got to come.
Taking shoes on, girl. We're going to have to put Kim on a cart. That's all I'm saying. I'll cart her ass around. I'll be looking at the Chinaman going, don't worry, we get you there.
It's a fun town. It is. I've been here, since the late 60s. And I've enjoyed it. I love it for so many different reasons. The history, the people. It's a friendly town. Everybody knows everybody. And for me, too, it's also in an excellent location where if I want to go to Virginia Beach, I'm 3 hours away from Baltimore.
And that's like us. We're an hour and a half.
It's a great location to travel to and from.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's see. Where did I go here? Oh, I wanted to say this because this is the other thing I want to mention because he's bringing up pets. Okay. Rob drops in here and says, I've had thought about bringing sensitive dogs on investigations. They sense things and hear things with humans or which humans cannot. Let's rephrase that. He's right. But I also want to say this. As long as I'm going to say it proper, as long as they are trained and respectful. Actually, we actually have had dogs on the tour. And
we have them on our ghost tours here in town. As long as they're well behaved, usually it's nice if they have them on a leash or whatnot. But we've had some people bring dogs down in buggies. Yeah. We do our dog everywhere we go. He's in a little buggy. He goes everywhere with us. But I'm big on animals and their sensitivity to that.
And the whole town is. That's the other thing I want to bring up. It's a pet friendly town.
It is.
A lot of shops will, allow you to bring your pet in, and they will actually be very nice, and you'll get treats and all this special treatment. I love it. I love it.
Oh yeah, you always through town. You always see people out walking their dogs and everything. And we love animals. We love to have them on the tours. Like I said, as long as they're well behaved, and we haven't had that I can really think of any problems with any over the years. And now we're going into our 17th season now. So yeah.
Cha-ching.
Wow. That's a long time. but here we go. I never would have thought because when I started this with the ghost tours, that was the last thing on my mind at the time. I was more into the paranormal investigating and traveling. I wanted to go here, I wanted to go there, I wanted to do this, that, and this. And Lisa would be telling me, she said, you know what? Guess when anytime we travel, we're out of town. Well, first thing we think of is, hey, let's do a ghost tour, whether it's in Savannah, Charleston, St. Augustine. Hey, let's do a ghost tour. So she's telling me here, she says, we don't have a ghost tour here. She says, you ought to create one. She said, I think it'd be pretty successful. And I would tell her, oh no, at least I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. I just want to investigate and all. And I finally got sitting around thinking about it. I thought, I'm gonna make time. So I did. I went out and done a lot of research, talked with a lot of people. Went to the historical archives here in town, put together all the information, and it's been a huge success since. Now, when we started it the first year, it was really just a trial basis. We were going to do it just for the month of October, and it was so successful. We brought it back the next season, and we would expand it from like April, the 1st of April, till Halloween. Halloween would be our last night. Yeah. Now we're at the point now where we're at, like I said, it's every month. Whether we have something every weekend, we don't. I mean, like, say January and February, it might be every other weekend. It just depends on the weather too. Yeah. But I can tell you something with our tours. If we're going to have a full moon on a weekend, if it's a Friday the 13th, we're going to do a ghost tour.
Yeah, right.
If there's an anniversary date in connection with the history here, we're going to do a ghost tour.
Especially when we have many events.
Yeah, exactly.
There's multiple events there that take place.
With it is to create new content, to keep people interested in content that's legit and everything without straying. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it's a challenge. It is. We've tried to do different things and reach out even on different multiple levels, not just with the haunts and stuff, but as you can see, we do have some UFO stories from around here. So you can see my
somebody asked about that.
I named him Drinking Buddy.
Yes, it is.
That one really freaked Lisa out. She says he stays down here. So. But we bring him out on some of the tours. We let people want to get their pictures with him and whatnot. And it's pretty cool. I used to have right over in this corner, this is an older prop, one of the first ones I got years ago, but I used to have Edgar Allan Poe back there, and he's on loan downtown right now, one of the bookstores.
And if you go to the event page, you can actually see that picture or the multiple pictures of that.
Yes. Most of them I'll get like from Spirit Halloween, but these last two, that alien, I actually got that from a company online called Distortions Unlimited. Yeah. They specialize in making props like that. And yeah, he was a pretty penny. So that's why I named him Drinking Buddy.
Drinking Buddy.
We had a little bit of fun with him. We ordered pizza one night, and we live up on a hill, a pretty steep hill. And so Domino's was delivering, and I put him in the bay window. And I could just watch it from one of the other windows to get the driver coming up the driveway and seeing him
there. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. That are
I like to have fun.
Get one of those creepy dolls right beside her or on another window. That'd be awesome.
I've had some of the dolls, some of the smaller ones. Lisa made me get rid of those. Though. But speaking of dolls, I don't know if you can notice, I got the little back here.
Yeah, so you got the little one with you.
Yeah, I got the pleasure to meet Robert the Doll a couple of years ago down in Key West. We went down to Fort East Martello Museum. That's where he's housed at right now. And the fort has some activity down there. And actually they do public paranormal investigations. Well, before we went on vacation down there, I called ahead to see if they would do a private investigation. And if me and Ashton, my grandson, could have it for about 5 or 6 hours. And I called the guy up on the phone, and he gave me a price. And I said, well, that's a little expensive, but okay, I'm on board. So we did it. I told Lisa, I said, as soon as we get to Key West, Ash and I got a little bit of business to take care of the first night. But yeah, it was interesting. We treated Robert with all the respect. I mean,
you better.
I wasn't
right.
I was not going to tempt anything. And funny thing about that, when we got back from that vacation a few weeks later, I went through a little run of bad luck.
Oh no!
I had a couple checks that had bounced from tour guides that didn't cash them, and had some problems with my Jeep. There was issues going at work, and then I started thinking, and I went, "No, Marty, don't even go there."
Right. No, thank you. I tell you what, we're at the top of the hour. However, this is St. Patty's Day, and this is a special program. If you two would like, let's extend it. Would y'all want to go further? Rhonda, you up for
I'm
this?
good.
I'm good.
All right, so let's do this. Travelers and those like, how about we take about a 5-minute break? We're going to come back. This way you can I got to refill me mug. I got to put a little more Bailey special in there. Why don't we do that? We'll take a 5-minute break. When we come back, we're going to get more into some of Marty's experiences, talk more about Staunton, get you involved to hear a little about Black Raven, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the paranormal. What do you say? I just dropped my phone in the hot tub. Damn it, man. What are you doing?
Because you're not supposed to say R.T. name.
Wow.
We got in the hot tub for
You're not supposed to say.
Oh, look. Somebody we have not seen in forever. And I'm so happy to see him. He has returned. Mr. White is back.
Take you back in time.
Oh, yes. Robert, it's so good to see you again, and thank you for being here, sir. It is so good to see you. Did I go back in time? No, but we can make it that way, lad. Actually, this is great timing for y'all. We are going to take a 5-minute break. When we come back, wait. I do not want to miss this. Sarah said she cannot wait to bring Molly up. That's our lab, and we do the tour. We're excited about that. So we're really good about that one, too. So we'll make sure she did that. We're going to take a 5-minute break. You're going to listen to some music. When we return, we're going to come back with Marty. Ron is going to hook up some stuff. I'm going to hook up some stuff, and we're going to have some more of the green misty stuff. We'll be right back just after this.
All right.
Cool.
Right, we are back. We just after I saw Steven's like I'm gonna eat about 10 minutes. I guess he had to go potty. A couple people dropped some stuff before we get started. We want to say tonight's show is brought to you by Ghost of Staunton.
Ghost of Staunton.
Check them out. Go to Staunton, Virginia. Check out the Ghost of Staunton website and on Facebook. Also brought to you by tonight, the Cabin on 360 here in historic Mechanicsville Turnpike. Touch base with Dennis Aslick or Ryan C. Jones for special events and for private investigations. So, and our newest sponsor brought to you tonight by Boo's Paranormal Equipment. Best prices for the right investigator. Bam! Tonight we are on air with our special sponsor promoted location, right hand, and there it is, the man, him, with the legend himself, Marty Seibel. Yeah.
Wow.
You like that? That was good, huh? You know,
Thank you.
You know, your last name gets me as bad as there's other people that I just like Lorelei and Laura Lee. I always get them wrong. Always.
Yeah. I always tell the best thing to remember with my last name is it rhymes with Bible. So
Right.
it's Seibel.
Seibel.
A lot of people
It doesn't
pronounce
matter.
Seibel.
You could say that all day long, and my accent's just gonna say Seibel.
Yeah, it does. We get that a lot. That's cool. That's cool.
So I got to start this off. Steven says I put green food coloring in a $60 bottle of whiskey, and my wife is mad. Happy at St. Day, people. I got to go. Thanks for joining us on this first hour, Steven. Robert is in the house, and Rob drops in and says, I'm betting all the cattle farmers dread this day. It's a long way to the trip to a dairy. And now, of course, that was me, so I won't even put that. We're back on track here. A couple of people actually stepped away, and you know, there's a lot of great shows on Sunday nights now. When I first started this show, there was 2, and now there's a plentiful, just like the paranormal. So, by all means, check out all the great shows that are on right now on all the great networks. We appreciate you being here. So we were just getting ready to talk about Staunton. We talked about the history now, and I had asked you, Marty, about stop it. Sorry, I'm getting texts. I asked you earlier, you know, what did some of your tour guides experience? And I know they've experienced a lot, but what about your tour guides? I mean, let's talk about some of them because they deserve to be heard and talked about because you've got some wonderful, amazing tour guides. I've got to tell you.
Yeah, they have, particularly down at the depot station, they have witnessed things where they've seen shadows, figures, something move quickly, you know, their peripheral vision. Or they've heard disembodied voices. And both of them have felt a very strong connection to Miss Myrtle Knox, who was killed down there in 1890, the train wreck, actually April 28th of 1890. She's probably the most active of everybody down there.
Yeah, is Myrtle the one that walks? You know, I don't want to give too much away because I really want to bring people in, but maybe we tell the stories the people want to experience it.
Sure.
So is Myrtle the one that walks down the track, or is she the one that? Okay,
she is. She's been sighted down there numerous times along the track. Sometimes it's described in between like a white dress or a very pale blue dress, Victorian. Probably would have maybe even been some type of gown because she was in a sleeper car when that accident occurred.
Oh wow!
So yeah, and so the only fatality too.
Now there's more legends about that train depot than just that. But
Sure.
you did say something about the train accident. You want to talk about that for a minute? Maybe people, you know.
Yeah, we had a train derail. It was actually on its way to Baltimore, and there was an opera troupe on there called the Pearls of Peking. They were supposed to do a performance at Baltimore, but they were going to stop over here in Staunton and do a quick performance along the way. So there was a lot of excitement. Townsfolk had gathered actually down at the depot station to welcome the troupe into town. And the train actually ended up being an hour late, and nobody was really too concerned at the time. Then the second hour passed, and people started to get a little worried as to what was going on. And a short time after that, they noticed the train actually had the brakes had given out several miles outside of town. It was already late. The brakes had given out. So when it came into Staunton, actually came barreling into town about 70 miles an hour. went around the bend, and incredibly, the train stayed on the tracks for the most part, except for the last car. It was a sleeper car, and that's where a lot of the members of the troop were there on that sleeper car, including Miss Myrtle Knox. That did fly off the track, tore out the depot platform there completely, just a catastrophic mess. As they're sifting through everything, they're finding people, a few cuts and bruises, a few broken bones. Nobody dead yet till they pulled up a piece of the roof from the platform and they discovered Miss Myrtle Knox lying there. She was 17 years old. She bled out outright there on the depot platform, died a few minutes later before they can get her to a hospital. She had had her leg cut off. One of her legs was torn off right above the knee, and then the other was a large piece of wood that had lodged in her femoral artery, and she bled out right there on the platform. It's interesting. She's an interesting story because she actually joined the troop against her father's wishes. She wanted to travel. She wanted to be successful, and she was just trying to get that opportunity. And
a little bit of more.
Even today you hear about train derailments and crashes to have one fatality.
Incredibly, yes, I know.
Yeah,
believe it or not,
especially back then.
Yeah.
And what's really ironic is, Rhonda, when you get there, you're going to see how tight this location is, and to see that location, because there is a special train that does come and do tours, and it's a beautiful engine. I'm all about trains. That's one of my passions. And when I saw this engine parked there, I was just like, oh, I know what that is. And I was like, oh my God, I had to take pictures. And Sarah's like, you're like a little kid. I'm like, I am. I'm going to take a picture.
And the best time to do it's in the fall.
Yes.
It's the most popular.
Yeah. We actually came and had lunch with Marty on a Saturday. And then Marty had to get ready, so he had to get some sleep. And I took her around, Staunton, and we went to the train station, and it was there. Then we went on top of the hill where the mansion is, and was it the mayor or governor? I can't remember. Was there. Then from that point across the trestle, Rhonda, you can see all of Staunton. It is so beautiful. And then you can come back there. You get some of the best pictures there. You just go up and down roads and streets. And like I said, Mary Baldwin's on the other side of town. And you see all these beautiful churches. The sight alone of this city is enough to make you awe. And it's a classic, I would say it's a classical Shenandoah Valley town. You would think, you would see, and yep, it is there. Hey, Michelle. Michelle is in the house. Hello, hello. That's one who is saying, hello, I'm late. Nope, you're just here on time.
It's a very popular small town. We get a lot of tourism here. A lot of people come and, just enjoy it for the history, the architecture here, the food, and we're just very lucky to be able to play a small part in that, to present some of the history and haunts. I think one of the things that really amaze me, or I take in about the depot station, is the fact when it was first put in there in 1854, and the American Hotel sits about 20 yards over from it. It was put there in 1855, and then when it was converted over to a Civil War hospital in 1862, you see the reasons why it begins to put itself together, the puzzle, because of that railroad being a direct link to Richmond. And the city was so pivotal during the Civil War. It was the heart of the Shenandoah Valley. We had everything here, from uniforms that were produced, weapons, shoes, food, in and out through here. Everything came through that depot station, even dead and wounded. And one of the things too that they were real, I guess, was popular back in the time, is they would parade POWs through town here that would come in from the railroad before they put them back on a rail car and send them to Richmond to be locked up at Libby Prison down there or somewhere else.
Yeah.
Especially if they were an officer of somebody. If they were an officer, that's even a more prized possession.
Because you got some tomatoes and celery and tomatoes, potatoes getting thrown, lettuce. Yep.
But then when you're over there at the hotel, you just get it. I mean, it's like, wow, the hotel's practically sitting on the railroad there. It only makes sense. And of course, it served as a receiving hospital. The bigger hospital would have been just over the hill, VSDB, Virginia School for the Deaf and Blind. But interesting thing about it too, after some of the major battles, like when you had Antietam and Gettysburg, the town would be overrun with sick and wounded from these major battles. They would trickle into town. And one of the big objectives of the Southern Army was to get to Staunton, because once you got to Staunton, you had that railroad to get to Richmond, whether you send sick and wounded there.
It's not just Richmond, because you got to think about it. You had Richmond, you had Lynchburg, you had Gordonsville. So it was Gordonsville and Lynchburg, and then you made it to, oh my God, hold on, wait. I'm having some Baileys. I cannot believe Chimborazo Park. Chimborazo, which
Yep.
of course was 1,000 acres of one land hospital on top of Church Hill,
Yep.
where
Right.
the goal was to get, because you were going to get supposedly the best medical help there. But they had an amazing triage center in Gordonsville at the Exchange Hotel.
Mhm.
And then, of course, in Lynchburg, I'm not going to say anything more because it was asked not to, but, there was amazing triage in Lynchburg that, the guys even from Gettysburg were pulled in through, heading towards Chimborazo. So, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that everybody
Yeah,
knew.
it felt like, I mean, from what we understand, it was just felt like there was better care that way. We had VSDB, which it was a general hospital and it was a good hospital, but
Mhm.
I mean, you only hold so many, and again, the objects to get, back or as close to home
Right.
by that railroad.
Exactly.
VSDB, they had a capacity, or they could hold up to 10,000. Now they never went over that, but I know after Gettysburg, they were over 9,000 and something then. And of course, a lot of houses here in town were used as makeshift hospitals. The American
Right.
Hotel served a purpose well because it's right there at the depot station itself. So, I mean, it was
Yeah.
more of a receiving hospital, but still, it would have housed up about probably 200, 250 people at a time.
Ooh.
That's
Yeah.
a
Now, I want
lot.
to go back real quick. I want to say this because Sarah's like, she's backing up what we were saying. She said it's beautiful. And she replies back with, everyone is so nice and friendly in town. She's right. Every person we encountered, even the people visiting, they were polite. They spoke. The atmosphere just encourages you to embrace yourself in the town.
It is, and it's always been like that. It's always been like that since I can remember. When
Well, that's not saying that Staunton doesn't have, or Stanton doesn't have its. Yeah, I did
Don't
that.
say
didn't I?
Staunton. It makes me crazy.
I know.
you know the story with that, right? I mean, we've
Yeah.
told that.
I haven't
Yeah.
told her yet. Go ahead. You can say it.
Well, I mean, if you say Stanton, that means you're from around here. If you say Staunton, then you're from the north.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's
We're
a-
not
I'm
going
not
any
from
further
there,
than
but my mother is. She wasn't from there, but she lived there for a lot. So when
Yep.
Howie will, I remember the first time I said, "What did you just call it?"
Oh, yeah, because I knew the pronunciation over the basings. And I went, oh, going to Staunton. And she looked at me and went, what'd you just say? I'm like, oh, damn, Stanton. They get that pronunciation. I have to pronounce it right. I do that too much, and it throws my accent all to crap. I'm like, great, here we go again.
We get that question a lot on the tours from visitors out of town. We'll get that question a lot. Which is it? And so we explain. We'll go into a little bit about that.
Oh, absolutely. So Robert wanted to jump into a question that I didn't even think we were going to even talk about, but let's go down that rabbit hole. Brother, have you encountered any cryptos or cryptics in that location? Have you heard, other than, well, you got Bigfoot sightings around you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have not encountered any personally, but I do know of stories. Gosh, and I know some have dated back to the early 1980s of a Bigfoot being sighted out in Middlebrook, which is just the outskirts of town here, not far away. And then I know there has been some talk in recent years of stuff being out toward Braley's Pond and out that way. Now, I've done some stuff out at Braley's, never encountered anything out there, but it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. You get out there to the forest out there. But I've heard some stories, and I would find it possible, very possible.
It's funny you said Braley's, because that's a place where my paranormal team is planning on going to camp to do some paranormal investigating.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we're going to be hunting cryptids too.
Y'all going there, and we're going to Slate Lick. We're going to return back to Slate Lick. So both teams will be doing some foot hunting this year.
Cool.
Marty, like we were talking about earlier before we started, is, we were talking about camp and all that. We're going to go to Catherine's Furnace hopefully this year.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, I'm excited about it.
Very cool.
That place.
Yeah, you'll enjoy that. You will definitely enjoy that. Braley's, talking about Braley's, I remember, gosh, this was way back in the day. Teenage years, partying out there. All those good times. Never thought of anything about it. Then later, when I got into paranormal investigating and everything, we learned a little bit more of the history out there and some of the things. And we've investigated out there a few times. I found it a very interesting area. And of course, they've been connected with that a little bit further down. I think it's Elkhorn Lake, where we had an episode that actually appeared on Unsolved Mysteries back in the 90s. Somebody that was killed. Do you know the story of that?
Yeah, I wasn't going to go there. I was leaving it. You talk about what you want, but I was like, is he going to talk about it? Oh, you are.
I vaguely remember it. It was like kind of like a love triangle. I think of the guy went out there to fish on a
I've
Friday
heard
night
of
or
this.
weekend,
Yeah.
and he was shot and found dead, and somebody had tried to set the vehicle on fire. And I know the suspects was the girlfriend or her ex-husband, and then there was a third suspect, the gentleman's brother. And I think, long story short, I think eventually 7 or maybe 10, 12 years later, it was solved. It was somebody that was just up to random meanness that had joined the army, went overseas, came back, and then confessed or said something to someone here locally, and they turned him in. I believe that's how it went. Of course, that would have come out, would that have been early 90s, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay.
But you know what's really ironic, though? And we're talking about true crimes and all that right now.
Mhm.
What's interesting is how many of these weird, unusual cases are attached, again, to Staunton.
Mhm.
Look at well, you may not want me to. Do you want me to talk about the ice cream stand?
Sure. Sure.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, dude. It's your story.
No, you can. We don't have that on the tours. But
Really?
you know, well, we've had it on the dark tour a little bit where we haven't went too much detail with it. Because we do feature different things. And one of the things was pretty much said early on that, and I don't even remember, Matt Willis had come across that, where Staunton, they were saying where Staunton, for size, its town had more unsolved crimes than any other town in the country. And I really? Nah. But I don't know where he got that at. But yeah, there are some stories here. And that was one of them with the ice cream store murders in the late 60s. And of course, that eventually delved into a bedside deathbed confession. If you remember, it made the Washington Post. I don't know if it made the USA Today or not, but I do know it made the Washington Post. Interesting thing about that, just months prior to that, a lady that used to work for the city that I knew was friends with the family of those two girls that were killed. And she wanted me to go down to the place where they were shot, which was the High's ice cream store. So now it's a optical store. Opticians in there. I think it's Hunley, or I think they're called Hunley. But anyway, she wanted to get permission for us to go in there and do some stuff with the audio. Run the spirit box and do some regular EVP. And I said, well, you ask them and I'll go with you if you want to do that. And so she did and got permission, and we went down there and conducted about an hour session. We didn't have anything come across or anything. And then a few months later, that story broke. I was like, wow.
Yeah, connected history, brother.
Wow.
That's why you gotta love the paranormal homes.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, the police department was in on it. They had hid the murder weapon.
Yeah,
If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That chief
That's
of
why I
police,
wasn't
he's
gonna get
dead now.
into it.
He's long dead.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Crooked cops, man. That's why I was like,
Yeah.
I may not talk
Yeah.
about the story, but it's intriguing. It goes back and it just talks about, these small towns and,
Yep.
when the upper echelon, the police department, government officials want to cover something up, they'll cover it up to keep whoever from being busted, or I slept with this woman, or, I did this. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Now, are you familiar with the 1979 story here of the serial rapist at Mary Baldwin?
No,
That made television.
no, but hold on one second. I want to get this in. Damien says the difference in Scotland is the wildlife doesn't want to eat you. Touche. Do you have trained gun holders on trail hunts with tours?
For our ghost tours downtown?
Yeah, I think that's what he's trying to say.
We do not. I do have a third degree.
We're not that dangerous, damn it.
Matt Willis, he's pretty good with everything. He's a third degree black belt, but that's about as far as our. We don't have too many problems with people downtown. But I always tell our guides, if anything, if they have any kind of problems, harassment or anything, I'm just a few minutes away to give me a call, and I'll be there on it and see that somebody's there to handle the situation. We've had very few of those, very few of them over 17 years.
He's right, though. We do have bears, tigers, oh my, killer beavers. Long story. I don't believe I just went there. But we do have a lot of wildlife in that area. There, it is got some wildlife, but you'd be surprised. For the way we're talking, it's still not that closed off. It's a very open location, very pretty, very tranquil is a good word to use for that if you're outside of town. Because it's like Fredericksburg. You don't realize that there's an old town still there. And that's really what we're talking about is Old Town Staunton. So yeah, legit. Now your story, sir. I did not mean to interrupt.
Yeah, well, I was not aware of this till years later, but we'd come across something on television about a serial rapist here in 1979 had raped, I think it was 5 Mary Baldwin students in a certain period of about maybe 3 to 4 weeks. The police department couldn't find any leads on it, couldn't do anything, so they called a psychic medium in and helped them, and then they made an arrest a short time later. And I forget the name of the story, but you can YouTube it and find it. It's out there.
So in 79, they actually used a psychic medium.
They did. And I'm trying to think, damn, what the hell was I doing in 1979? Oh, that's right. I was partying. I was a senior. I was just living a good life. I don't remember that.
It wasn't me. I promise you, it wasn't me.
But yeah, Google it, look it up. But that was in 1979. And then, of course, we've had a UFO story from 1965. We've put that on our Dark Tales, talk a little bit about it. And when we do go with that tour, and particularly that story that evening, and they do vary from time to time, I always make sure to bring Drinking Buddy down there on location to get your photograph with him.
I'm getting mine.
Somebody last October violated him, though.
What?
Yeah. I had to chase them off.
Oh, good Lord.
People.
Well, it is Staunton.
Exactly, people.
What are you doing to my alien?
Let's give them the real hook. Let's give them the real meat. Why come to Staunton and do the tours? I'm sure they would love to hear about our wonderful doctor in our Western
Here
State.
we go.
Yeah, the good stuff here. We get to Western State Lunatic Asylum and D. Jarnett Sanatorium, which is just down the road from Western State Lunatic Asylum. Well, it's a big history with Western State. It was first opened in 1828, and it's still in operation today, although it's moved, by different places. But the original structures are still up. One of those, the administration building's been converted into an inn called Blackburn Inn now. It's very popular. A lot of people like to stay there. Just over the hill from it, if you go up over the hill, the back of the Blackburn Inn, down a short distance, you'll come across a cemetery that has about 3,000 to 4,000 graves there. Most of them, about 90 to 95% of them, is just a cement slab with no name. It's row after row. It's a combination of patients there dating back to 1800s, as well as inmates, because the buildings were used as a penitentiary 2 years ago. A little bit of everything back there. It's kind of sad to me. I've been back there a few times. It looks like something out of Sleepy Hollow.
It is sad.
They're very protective of it now. They do have, because people are going back or doing all kind of stuff. But you can still go back there. I always tell people, if you're going to do it and you want to go back and check it out during the day, to ask permission at the Blackburn Inn. They'll grant it to you to get back there if you want to see it.
Okay.
I wouldn't advise going back there at night.
No thanks.
It's not really worth being arrested. Then just down the road is the D. Jarnett Sanatorium. That's 2 buildings. It sits right behind the Lowe's building there off of Route 250. Now that was put out there in 1932, and it was named after Dr. Joseph D. Jarnett, who was the head psychiatrist and superintendent at Western State Lunatic Asylum from 1906 to 1943. Of course, he was a big proponent of eugenics. And originally when Western State was built and opened up, it basically, their treatment plan was very easy, mild. It was basically more rest and relaxation and just enjoying life. And then, of course, when we get into the late 1800s, you get into the early 1900s, it took a little bit more serious turn with it, where they would use restraints, straitjackets. And then, of course, when D. Jarnett came in, like I said, he was a big proponent of eugenics, and they did thousands of forced sterilizations at Western State Lunatic Asylum, all the way up to the 1970s, if you can believe that.
Yeah, Dr. Evil.
Dr. Evil. Dr. Evil is supposedly buried over in Highland County. I have never been to his grave, but it shouldn't be hard to find over there.
It makes me wonder if that would be a good day trip just to do a session.
It would, just to find it and just kind of report on it. I have thought about that myself.
I think I know what we need to do. We need to take an adventure. Go talk to that bastard.
Now they say, I don't know this, I don't have any information that's documented on this, but they say that there was about 8,000 to 9,000 sterilizations performed at Western State Lunatic Asylum, and that he personally performed about 1,200 of those.
Yeah. Yeah,
So yeah,
they were blasting.
and you know, of course, at that time period in time, that was kind of the popular thing sweeping the nation. Anyways, you see
Yeah.
the same stuff that happened. Well, this happened down at St. Albans, down at
Mhm.
Radford. It happened at Penhurst Asylum, and on and on.
Actually, you know what, Marty?
Mhm.
Hold on. Before I said, I want to say hi and Rhonda, our friend, the paranormal photographer, is in the house. Tyler
Hello,
Darnell.
Tyler
Hello.
Darnell.
I'm getting knocks. Hey, I got a little bit of more time. Just relax. Long story on that one. Y'all might think I'm crazy. They're tuning in. That's no. I've got friends. Anyway. Where was I? Oh yeah, and Shayla wanted to make sure that we talked about Dave, and we're going to talk about Dave Sims in just a few minutes. We're getting to
yeah.
that book because we are in that session. We have to recognize that back then they might have not thought that they were doing the bad thing. When now we know that they were doing bad thing. Now going back to that, there is some I want to clear up because there is a misconception about St. Albans. St. Albans was not in my research and understanding and talking to the historian of the past of St. Albans, there was never any of that took place at St. Albans.
Okay.
Those people were actually transferred to Desjardins.
Really?
Yeah.
But that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's another one, another sanitarium that's between the two of them that is closed off, which I have found. It's still in the Virginia location, but it's further back. That they may have done that too, but that was more of a TB hospital. But of course, we all know that if it was mental, it probably transferred into TB, vice versa.
Right.
But yeah, St. Albans never did any lobial or any major. They did do a little bit of shock therapy, but it was aquatherapy in some shop, but they never did the drastic. They focused more on the psychological side. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And
Western State, they did it all. They did lobotomies, they did electroshock therapy, hydrotherapy, insulin-induced comas, the whole bit. They did everything there. One of the interesting things, too, and we talk about this because we do want to. I mean, I don't want to make Western State out to be like a monster institution because even though they did those things, like I said, they were the norm for the period, for the time we were going through.
Yeah, and they were really
people there. We really don't have any reports like you might get from Penhurst, where there was abuse, purposely neglect, mistreatment of patients. We don't get that from Western State. Now you hear all that from Penhurst. The thing with Penhurst, I don't think it's ever happened with Western State, but Penhurst became overcrowded, short-staffed, and then of course you've got some of the eugenics things that went on up there, and then you go into patient abuse and it's just a house of horrors. I don't think we ever had that at Western State, but the eugenics.
No, but we're not gonna. But that's the whole lure. What we do know, we probably don't want to talk about. Let them hear that on the tour, because I'm talking about the promos. Let them hear that. We want to give them a reason to come, and that some of this, we're not telling you everything, folks. There's a lot more to this tour than we're telling you.
I do want to say one thing, though. There is one thing I need to clear up on that. And we never had this problem till recently. We did have somebody call us out on it this year with a tour. We cannot take you on the grounds of the property, Western State Lunatic Asylum. We can get you close right across the street from it where you can get a viewpoint of it, but they will not give us permission to come on the property. And I had to really write that in specific right in for our description, because eventually we did have someone like, hey, they thought they were going on the grounds and they weren't able to.
Yeah.
But we can't facilitate that. And so we just, we get a safe distance where you can see it, and we do go into all the history with it. And then of course that's where our good friend Dave Sims comes in, because we talk about his book, Fear of the Reaper. And Dave's a wonderful guy. He's been with us the longest running tenure now of anybody, I do believe. He is originally from New Jersey. He'd come down here and done a ghost tour, and I was doing it, and he fell in love with the tours and asked if he could be a guide, and we've hit it off ever since. But
we'll get into more of that.
I love his sense of humor. I love his mind and everything, and his book's a wonderful book.
Now we call him Lurch for some people.
Lurch.
We're just letting you know. He's all. You will not miss Dave.
No, you won't miss Dave. Matter of fact, we just like to, because I like to use a sense of humor with it. But him and I went down to the parking garage downtown to film a commercial for the tours, and basically I was on my knees and standing beside him, and then the commercial, basically all you can do is just see me, but you can never see him. We just cut him off. Just have his hand
He's
waving,
just
say
not
hi, Big
talking.
Dave. Bye.
Right. And he's got such a dry humor. It's just awesome. And
It is.
he gets you the little stories, and you're like, what are you talking about? Next thing you know, boom, he turns it into this massive thing. You're like, holy shit, where'd that come from? It's really awesome. And
you're aware too, he's got another book out on a cryptic. He talked.
Yes, I didn't. Well, I wanted to wait till he came on to talk about it, let him promote
Okay.
it.
I won't spoil it.
Now, Rhonda, did you have a question? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
You sure?
I don't remember what it was.
Damn it. I hate it when we do. Damon says, I'm doing a hunt soon to a castle built in 1400s. Do you find older sites react better to non-electronic equipment? Good question again. Well, y'all are on fire tonight.
I really can't say on that. I mean, we've always used electronics, but I would think certainly anything is possible, and probably, the best way to go about it would probably to do both.
Exactly.
To try it first without it, and then to try it to see, with electronics, and see how it progresses. I think the possibility is certainly strong. Could be, yeah. Again, because you're trying to relate as close as you can to back in that time frame. And that's how I look at it. Always be able to make that connection somehow on some kind of level. So yeah, I think that'd be very possible.
Shayla says, I would like to get the chance to meet him sometime, talking about Big Dave.
Oh yeah.
You will meet him. If you do these tours, you're going to meet him. And let's take that opportunity. Let's swing back. Since, Ron has never been there, let's talk about some of the tour guides. I mean, of course, we got Big Dave, who's also a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's got two wonderful books. The first book, of course, is The Reaper, which talks specifically about, how does he put it? Does he put it as a fictional?
He does.
That's what he puts as a fictional book, but he's got a lot of hard, good stuff in that. He has a wonderful sense of humor. He is a teacher of literature, and he has an amazing personality. And he's very interactive on the tours.
Mm-hmm. He's a lot of fun.
He is.
And he's been with us well over 10 years. And sometimes when we'll do different promotional events and whatnot, we'll actually have him down. If he's doing a tour that night, we'll have him down sometimes an hour before and have a book signing and stuff. Talk a little bit about the book. We put those up on our website from time to time. We'll put them as promotional things. We will have a couple of those coming up this season.
And I was supposed to be there this past year, and for whatever reason, make it. But hopefully, when he gets some book signings, hopefully we can come up and put a booth right beside him, and we'll do some promotions together and work that. I think.
Yeah, that would be cool. He would love that. He would.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dave's a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to reading his second book. I've not purchased it yet, but I do plan to soon. I do have several copies of Fear the Reaper. I enjoyed it very much. Bought Rachel, my daughter, a book, and it's an excellent Christmas gift too. And he does a lot with the books. Like I said, a lot of people like to come down and just talk and just kind of get to know him. He's a fun person. Love his sense of humor.
And if he does, and he will acknowledge that if you do know a little something about that area or about that, he will let you talk about it or your experiences. And if you've had an experience in Staunton, drop it in. Let's talk about it, because that's what it's all about.
It is. And one of the things too, another thing with that, it helps us even with our tours. When we get somebody shares a personal experience, we like that. It's information that we share with other people, and we like to tell the story. And of course, we give anybody credit that, if they want that. Yeah, absolutely. We have no problem. We'd love to mention them. Some people don't want that. Other people do, but we ask before we present anything like that. And that's kind of how our tours grow, with more information and more stories. You build a database with that.
Exactly. I mean, there's times where we've been out, and I've been with Dave the most. But I'll usually walk in the back. So y'all know I do hover in the back part of the pack, because it's Dave's thing or Charlie's thing or Rachel's thing. I haven't been on Rachel's yet. I've been with Jesse, and I'll usually hang in the back. But they're really good about knowing my knowledge of the paranormal and the supernatural. They'll reach out and ask me questions, and I feel really honored that they do that. I really do. I think that's awesome. And it gets a good crowd reaction because they're like, well, who is this fool with a top hat on? Hey, I'm promoting myself now, but yeah, it's really
Oh no, we know when we know you're going to be in the area, I let them know. We know ahead, and we
look
we
out,
like to
he's
mention
coming.
you. But we also too, I don't know if you remember Matt Willis. He's back.
Oh,
Matt's been with
good.
us since the beginning, but sometimes every now and then he'll take a season or two off,
Mhm.
and he's back with us this season. And he's definitely a lot of fun. He did one of our tours last night. We actually did a Civil War tour, where we put together all of our Civil War stories. Started at Mary Baldwin, gradually made our way down to Depot Station, and it ended with a brief tour of the American Hotel, going inside there. We ran 2 of those last night. It's hard to kind of do a lot of tours at the American Hotel just because they have so many rentals there with wedding receptions. Of course, Rachel got married there last April, and so we had always talked if we could. And of course, I think that might be something you might see in the future if we have a little bit of free time. Say, like if we get within a month window, we're usually safe as far as to plan something. But I was pointing out to them, I said, because when we'd done tours there prior, everything had always been on a Sunday evening in October. And we did all right for October, but a Sunday evening, I mean, it's just not the best night to do a ghost tour. So it's kind of pointing out, like, if we could get in there on a Saturday night, which we did last night, we had a very successful night, and a lot of people come, and that was without doing anything paranormal. This is strictly on the history and the stories there, the ghost stories. We had a total of, 56 people last night, 30 on the first tour and 26 on the second.
Wow.
Of course, we got nice weather too, and that always helps.
Always. Absolutely. Robert just made a question. Love the ET in the background. Do you do UFOs? So he's asking me, do you follow ufology, or are you
not in real detail, but I do have an interest in it. I'll read some books. I have a book back here now, the Betty and Barney story from their experience back in 1961. I have a few UFO books here. I just find myself interested in it. And one of the things, not to the point where I'm totally absorbed or involved in it, but more and more, I'll say it's progressing. And it's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, it does interest me. I always like to learn more. And the other thing is, too, I thought it would be, from a business standpoint, I thought it would be something really great, because we have a couple local stories here to integrate it into our tours on the dark tour, because it tells a little bit of everything with Staunton. And I'll be honest with you, he's good for business.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's my drinking buddy.
So with that,
we take him down our own site. I've had him, we've had him down there to do photo sessions. If people want to come by and they do the tour, or anybody wants to come by and get their photo with him, they can. Yeah. And like I said, Lisa makes me keep him down here in the basement.
But okay, so we got Matt, we got Dave, we got Charlie.
Hmm?
Now, we had talked about Jesse a little bit, but now is Rebecca still with you?
Yeah, Becky's still with us, and she does our haunted history. She can really do a variety of all the tours. She can do the dark tour in an emergency. She basically does the haunted history tour, and she does the depot tour too, because she's very well versed with the spirit box.
Oh yeah.
So she does that as well.
I've actually investigated with her at the exchange. We did a grouping thing, and she's a wonderful lady. She's one of the first ones that I ever met. I met her before I met you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Becky's very easygoing. She corrals me when I get a little bit out of shape, and just kind of sit back and relax, and just, everything will be all right, Marty. It'll be all right.
Yeah. That's with the mother hand.
Well, the next thing I know, I'll fall asleep.
Yeah. I was going to get to that. That's one of your niches about your locations. If you want to know Marty, one of his trade signatures is, wherever location is, he gets a picture with him passed out or sleeping.
Yeah, I did. I started that like 15 years ago. Anywhere and everywhere we go, and Lisa would be like, "Oh God, oh Lord, not again." But it's always cool. We would do it with people that were unsuspecting. So in other words, if you had a group of people around talking, whether they're on the deck of the USS North Carolina battleship, and there's this guy over here taking a nap up against something, just passed out.
I get it in. Gotta get it in.
Then I've done it all over. Point Pleasant, done it in front of the Rocky Balboa statue in Philly. Oh, yeah. I haven't done as much lately. I don't know if I got out of it or what. But it was a good run. It was fun. each opportunity or situation just presents itself, and I would just be like thinking, oh, that's begging for a nap photo. I got to somehow slide in there. Some people would get in on it, and other people no. I just never like they were looking at you like, what the hell? Like I said, it's a sense of humor. I like to have fun.
It's a good niche, man. It's a good niche.
And I do even mention that on investigations when I'm even trying to communicate. Like if I'm a little bit off the wall a little bit, it's just because I do have a little bit different, at least I consider a little bit unique personality. And, I like to have fun. I like to enjoy things. And, I guess for me personally too, when I talk about the investigations we do, even though I'm evidence driven, believe me, I do want to get a good piece of evidence, whether it's EVP or video or something, but that's not the total thing. And we can go to a lot of locations and not get anything. I understand that. That's how it works. Sometimes maybe somebody doesn't want to communicate with you. Can't blame them for some reason. I mean, I'm like that myself, but I still have a good time because we're doing what we love to do. We are. And
I'm just looking at my shirt going, when did it turn blue?
Teammates. And the location and the history. And that's the other thing. I soak so much and take so much of the history with me and absorb it. So it works for me.
We got about 10 minutes left, bro. 10 minutes. I'm telling you, that's right. So let's do this. Let's go to your bucket list, man. What do you, well, boy, I'm getting ahead of myself. When it comes to the GOS, Ghost of Staunton, how many actual tours do y'all give? How many sections is there? Because it keep growing. So
we have right now, we run 4 different tours. Some are very sporadic. We have 2 that pretty much run all the time though, and that's our haunted history tour, which is strictly the history of the town, the history of the stops and the ghost stories. Then we have our Dark Tales and Haunts, the one that Dave does, which it features not only ghost stories, but a combination of legend, lore, history, mystery, a little bit darker side of town. That's where we get into the eugenics and stuff with, Western State Lunatic Asylum, D. Jarnett, and so on with that. Then the other we do at the depot station. It's based on the history and the stories there, but we do delve into some of the paranormal aspects. We share EVPs, spirit box clips. You participate in a live session. We do those on specific anniversary dates, as well as you can usually look for that at the end of October. We'll run them a couple weekends. And then, of course, we do the things with the American Hotel off and on when it's available. And then I would consider that kind of not really active on the schedule. But the last one, and we just introduced this back last August, is our Victorian Ghostly Encounters, because we now have permission to go into Spot's Kaufman house, home of Charlotte Kaufman. The owners, we collaborate on something where the first half of the tour, we walk you around the Gospel Hill district. We tell you all about the Victorian culture and traditions here, morning traditions and beliefs and whatnot. Then we take you up to the Spot's Kaufman house. We tell you our rendition of the history and the haunts that we know. And then we turn it over to the homeowners. The second half of the tour, you're inside the house with them.
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
And they share a little bit, and they share a little bit more detail of what's going on.
Cool.
We got to go. We got to go for that.
This might be a whole weekend.
That is my spot. That is my go-to. Dave, are we going? Dave, are we going? Dave, well, Howie, will you shut up? Like, no, I'm going to go.
Well, they moved into town here. They've owned the house for about 5 or 6 years, but they moved into town here about 3 years ago, and we connected. And they wanted to do something, a joint, thing with the tours. And so we put our minds together. And I thought, well, one of the best things about doing a ghost tour, when you can go inside of a location, it makes a huge difference. As opposed to being outside the whole time. And I said, there's so much interest in this house. There's so many misconceptions too in regarding Charlotte Kaufman. And so they can put some of those to rest as far as this. I won't go into all that, but they can put some of those things to rest, as well as tell you what they're experiencing now in the home, and they are experiencing activity. We have never really pushed to investigate the house with them. I'd be open to it, but I want them to be comfortable.
Yeah,
that's my main goal. I don't want them to have to worry about increased activity or something negative. They would have to be complete. They would have to want it, so to speak. If they want it, I'd be more than happy to help them. But I don't want to put any pressure on them. That was never my goal with hooking up with them. And same thing with the tours. I want them to feel 100% comfortable with what we do. And one of the interesting things with this, and I sat down and explained it with them when we put this together. The fact that not so much. You're bringing people into your home. You're living there right now, and that's good people and bad people with different, whatever, so I wanted them to just be aware of everything, all the potential, pros and cons with it when we went through it. It's been wonderful so far. We've had good crowds. We've sold a good many of them out. We do have good groups. We're at limit though, is how many we can put on that tour, because it's only so many people you can take in the house at a time.
Right.
So we've cut it off right around 24 people.
Very cool. There is one question that came out. Damon's like, does the time of day affect the tours? That's a good question, actually.
Affect, what do you mean, like paranormal effect, or just how we run them?
I'm going to go say probably both,
Okay.
on the attitude of the people on the tour and the paranormal activity.
Yeah, I agree.
We do have, well, of course, we have done tours early, even when it's still been daylight. We've had personal experiences happen, but they've been fewer. We have more experiences later in the evening for whatever reason, because it was dark, and I think, because we do more of those as opposed to earlier tours. So, obviously you're going to have, if there's experiences, they're going to be more reported during those times, but we'll run tours anytime. We have wanted to, and we have not done this to point, and I think some people have asked recently of doing tours later in the evening. And we even discussed last night about doing a tour through the American Hotel, if we could get it on a Saturday evening where we did some stuff in there, say around midnight or after, especially when we go to the park with the audio and stuff, and being able to participate in live sessions down there. Something we're going to look into. The only problem with it is the availability of the hotel.
So, but people can rent rooms out there at the hotel, right?
Well, it's basically what it serves as right now. There used to be a coffee shop that was in there. They closed up, folded up, and it's empty, sits empty right now. But there's a salon as you go into the front of the building. There's a salon to the right. Then there's as you go down the steps, there's the big ballroom that everybody rents for the wedding receptions. Okay. And then upstairs, where it would have been the balcony part, where actually we talk about General or President Grant. There's nothing but attorney's offices up on the second level up there. And that's pretty much what it's used for now. The only rental they'll do with it is like if you wanted to rent the ballroom for whatever, it could be a family reunion, could be a wedding reception, could be the wedding itself and the receptions, which what we did with Rachel. She had the wedding there and the reception afterwards. But they stay pretty busy with those. And they're usually like a Friday or Saturday. Every now and then you get one on a Sunday.
But there is a hotel in town that people can go to.
I had talked with them, though, about what would be the possibility if we were looking in their slow season about grabbing a Saturday night. And she said, usually if you can get within 3 to 4 weeks, there's a good chance, because I don't want to put a tour out there and then have to get bumped off. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, okay, well, we got, bye-bye, Marty. So we try to, this past one that we just did, it was about a month out. Yeah. And they said, yeah, we ought to be good. So we went with it and flew with it last night. And like I said, we had good numbers. There's a lot of people that's interested just in the history with it. And it is an interesting building. I've been in there. It's just kind of like we had people last night that they felt like a heavy feeling on them, a heavy, just couldn't explain it. We've had some people down the basement get nauseous. We've had people down there been touched when we did the tours on the Sunday evenings before. Jessie was one of them. Jessie didn't handle it very well when she went there for the first time.
Really?
Yeah, she got sick. So
that's crazy.
But yeah, we'll hopefully we'll have more information on that where we can do some more stuff in there. Again, like I said, it's all about scheduling.
So let's do it. Let's get to your bucket list. Okay. Where do you want to go? Where do you see GOS going?
Well,
what's your plans, brother?
I have a long bucket list. Do you have all night?
Damn it, man. Just give me 10.
10. No, actually, I've knocked several of them off. Probably at the top of my bucket list right now would be Alcatraz. Okay. I would just love to see it. I know it would be pretty difficult to investigate it because, for one, if you want to do a private investigation, you got to be ferried out there. And I don't even know if they do that. And if they did, I'm sure the cost would be enormous. Yeah. But that's a place I would love to see. Some of the places I've recently crossed off, of course, I went to Tombstone, Arizona. We did the Birdcage Theater. I'd love to do that again. Matter of fact, I'm in a process of setting something up now, going back to the Myrtles Plantation down in St. Francisville, Louisiana. Did that back in 2015. I always said I wanted to go back if I ever got an opportunity. It's close.
Yeah, I heard.
Close to happening.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Jennifer's family's down there, and she was telling me all about the close and for what reasons. So I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it when we were down there. I'd like to go back. And then, of course, I'd love to get DeJarnett for Western State. That'll probably never happen.
That's me and you too, brother. I mean, I think we, yeah.
Well, Rachel,
I want to go to jail though
several times, but it's interesting with them because even though we did do ghost tours there for a short period of time on the grounds only. And they never let us go in because of safety liabilities like asbestos. Areas aren't structurally sound. And they would let us do one tour every Saturday in October between the hours of 4 and 6. It's pretty hard to do a ghost tour in broad daylight, but we did it nonetheless. And the way we worked it was Dave would be up on the steps with a microphone, and you had like a mini parking lot down below. The last season we did tours there, we had over 100 people every tour, including the very last one was 165 people on that ghost tour. So but here's where it went astray. Once we were in the public eye and the media started covering us and everything, the break-ins of vandalism went off the charts, and the Frontier Culture Museum said we've had enough. Now, since then, I've had probably about 3 television shows contact me because they've seen that we did tours there, wanting to know about information to get in there and do a show. Right. The last one's Destination Fear. They had called me. Ghost Asylum had called me too back in the early days, and I'll give them the number to the Frontier Culture Museum. Wish them good luck, of which they have none, and it usually just dies, right? Unfortunately, But DJarnet would be on my bucket list, and I talked with John Avoli, he ex-mayor of Staunton, who was running the Frontier Culture Museum. I offered him $1,000 to let me and the group go in there for one night, and he just wouldn't do it. And,
if you're talking a free grand and they won't let you do it, then they're worried. So that's safe, I mean, even if you would have signed a waiver, you would have think, hey, I'm willing to sign a waiver. I've got no responsibility.
And we had talked about the tours, about doing more with the tours about actually going to the building, and he couldn't seem to comprehend that people wanted to do that. And I just thought,
do you know when I first really got into
an idea?
When I first started getting into doing the organized investigating, you like that? My goal was D. That's the only place that I saw that I wanted to go. I was like, I need that place. I need to go to that place. For something, I was drawn to that place and still am, by all means. And maybe, I don't know, maybe in one of my past lives I was there. Who knows? But I focused on that. And that's, for me, that's one of my prime spots I would ever go to would be DJarnet.
I'm with you. But he just, we had talked even nuts and bolts about, cleaning up some of the area inside to make it where we could take groups in. But the cost would have been like $20,000-$25,000. And then the thing is, if the buildings are leased a short time later, then you're out of that money.
Right.
And that's why it never went anywhere. Matt's wife, Shay, had actually taken a team in there to get some estimates on cleaning up the asbestos and some of the lead paint and whatnot in there to be able to do it. But that's about as far as we ever got, as close as we have. And then, of course, like I said, I've had a lot of people contact me. I just send them to the Frontier Culture Museum, give them their number, and wish them good luck. But no, sad. I've heard, we've since '96, and that's when the building's officially closed. There have been actually 7 proposals, 7 bids that have been on the property that have all fallen through at the last minute. Wow. Most of them have to do with the enormous cost that it would take to tear the buildings down. The last thing I'd heard too was somebody was interested in doing a hotel or B&B or something out of it, but anywhere.
I don't see that.
And then we dealt with, when we were doing tours there, the media coverage, WHSV out of Harrisonburg. We had TV 29 over in Charlottesville as well. And I don't know where, but they had done a feature with us right before Halloween. And they both reported that the buildings were to come down the following season. And I was like, what? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what I was, you and I talking about. I was like,
I called John Avoli up and asked him, and he said he didn't know either.
Get some pictures. I only have one picture outside of that place, just one. Well,
I'll tell you one interesting story about that. When we were doing tours there was a bunch of us there and cleaning the walks off and weed eating and whatnot. And of course, we all brought our cameras, infrared and all that, and people were taking photographs. And somebody had caught a really good photograph of what looks like a human figure over in the brush. So my mind, as skeptical as it is, I had everybody come back up there and wear exactly what they were wearing. And we busted out the culprit.
Oh, there you go.
I wanted it, but I was like, dang, because you've got everybody scattered out doing something.
Yeah, but you gotta apply the science, man. You gotta debunk what you got. Right. And when you debunk it, you're like, shit.
And that's the thing with me. Anything we present as far as evidence of that, I want to be sure as possible. I know you never can be, but at least pretty much, where you can't say, oh, that was so and so over there wandering around. And so, exactly. As much as we wanted it, we just couldn't do that.
Well, Marty, we're at the top of the hour. Rhonda, are you supposed to do anything tonight?
No.
Okay. I'm not going to rush that fast then, but Marty, tell people where they can find you, your website. Let's get you out there, brother. Let's talk.
Yeah, our website, if you're thinking about the ghost tours, it's ghostofstaunton.com. We're on Facebook as well under Ghost of Staunton. We're also on TikTok now. We've been doing that for maybe a month or so, a little bit more. Black Raven Paranormal, the paranormal group is blackravenparanormal.com. We're on Facebook as well under Black Raven Paranormal. We're not as active on Facebook. Like I said, we're trying to source through things with having some people that can spend some time on there and give it the time it needs. Same thing with the tours, although we do more with the tours, but it's just, like I said, because right now I've been pretty much managing everything. And Rachel's been helping out. We have a couple other people that are trying to get on there. And I do want to give people out, and I try my best when I'm on there. I do want to give people more plugins and stuff and exposure. I know I do what I can, but I would like to do more, so to speak. So it's you know how it is when you're doing something all alone, and some people will jump right in, and other
yeah.
I mean, yeah. But I always enjoy talking with you, Howie.
It is always a pleasure, brother.
Too, Rhonda.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Can't wait to come do the tour.
We'd love to have you. Please do.
Her and I are going to drag her and Kim with us. Like I said, we'll put her in a freaking car. We'll make sure she gets there.
That's right.
We will show you a wonderful time. And, that's the thing from our website, too. You can follow us on Eventbrite as well. Eventbrite has our whole, and I have a lot of tours for the rest. You can find most of our schedule all the way to the first of the year. I try to get them on it ASAP. Yeah, usually, after Halloween, things really slow down and the guides are all excited. We're all got downtime and all. And I just tell them for you, yeah. But for me, I'm thinking already 2025, 2024. Right. I'm doing the schedule. So, yeah, we have a lot of stuff already scheduled all the way through till December. Yeah. Like I've already got the Friday the 13th down and the full moons, look those up and on, just our other normal stuff going on. But like I said, it's a lot.
And for those who follow the RNN, you could always go to our calendar. We're working on placing their events in our calendar section, or you can go right to the man page. All of their events are right there for you to follow as we make sure and
we're always adding stuff too. That's the thing. Like I said, if there's an opportunity to do a tour and we have really good weather, if there's just anything that's going on and the mood strikes me right, I'll create something in a wing. And we go with it. It's one of the cool things about Eventbrite, and it has gotten us a lot of exposure with it, because it used to be back in the days we were just a cash only. You show up, you pay cash, and off we go. Now with the stuff with Eventbrite, it's an advertisement with it too. So when I not only post the event, I do the Facebook ads and all that stuff too. Run those for certain periods of time, usually targeted about 2 or 3 weeks out, and let it run. But yeah, we'd love to have you.
Brother, I thank you so much for coming on this special and making it such a special holiday for us. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you to all you travelers who tuned in and stayed with us the whole time, even through the break. You guys rock. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I hope you had a most magnificent St. Patrick's Day. Continue your tradition all the way through. I know I will. And let's get out there. Let's continue to help history through the paranormal and the supernatural. If that is our case and that's our drive, then let's do so. Let's support the history, because the history is there for a reason. And travelers and those work together, stay together, make it happen. There's a lot of trials and tribulations coming. We can do this together. Just stand tall, stand straight, stand together. And until next Sunday, whom we have the amazing Rhonda.
Oh no, because I'm not going to say it right. Laura Lee.
We have David and Laura Lee.
I don't. Oh.
Yes. Oh. That's what I'm saying. I just didn't want to say her name wrong. From What's at the Foot of the Bed. Also from the UPRN network, which we are proud to work with. I want to say thank you to all of our sponsors who made this show possible. Marty, thank you so much for this, GOS and Black Raven Paranormal. I want to thank Cabin and 360 and Boo Paranormal. And until next Sunday, we will see you next time on the other side. May virtue be yours.
Be good humans.
Thank you.